Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for this nice crowd in the chat box, I see, but we shall begin with the theme tune.
Conspiracies, government cover-ups, earth mysteries, monster cryptids, cyber saucers, and black triangles, up and woe. Black goo in Antarctica, lizard kings from the seventh star, men in black and Queen Boudica, up and woe. Black goo in Antarctica, Keplers from the seventh star, men in black and Queen Boudica, up and woe. Welcome to the Hop and Woe Show. Once I was alone, I was petrified, thinking I could be abducted when the bins went out. And so I spent so many nights thinking about the gray that might be there. But I grew strong, and now I really couldn't care. Save me from the aliens, save me from the government, save me from the men in black who call. Save me from the skeptics, save me from the watchers. Justice must be done for Richard D. Hall. No more psyop whitewashes. No more left in fear. How long till disclosure comes? Is it really getting near? Is it really getting near? Is it really getting near? Or are we always gonna wonder? Are we never gonna know? Is it just a way to control cells created oh so many years ago? Save me from the sheeple, save me from the liars. Open up your eyes and see their false flag planned attacks. Save me from the grifters, save me from the spiteful mutant hacks. Our fear is their power, our obedience the same. Make quiet acts of integrity always be your aim. Make quiet acts of integrity. Always be your aim. Speak truth to power, always be the keeper of the flame.
Hello everyone, welcome to this live stream, which is, it's going to be a solemn and obviously a sad one, but also hopefully we'll get something positive out of it. But before we go any further, I'm just going to welcome everyone to the live chat. We've got a nice crowd there. We've got 21 people viewing according to YouTube, which probably means about 100. But Red Ibex says the most important thing, R.I.P. David. Yes, indeed. Richard says, hi Ben and all, hope you're well, Ben, in these confusing times. Yeah, definitely. Genesis Porridge, that's a good name. So it says why? I don't know. Why what? Hello, Claire. Cosmic Claire is here. How are you? Thanks for moderating, Claire. Hello, Phuket. How you doing? Knew this was coming from Ben. It's been a bit of a delay. I didn't want to say anything too soon. A lot of people have been. I wanted to wait a little while, wait for some more facts to emerge. And indeed, I'm glad I did, because they have. Strange times indeed, Phuket, and all of these, not just in the USA, all over, are being disappeared. All right, there's a connection to the missing scientists and things. We'll go into that. Yeah, the AI hit list. We need a spliff guy. Yeah, Hugo Room. Where is he? I haven't seen him for years. Not years, months. Hugo, if you're out there, let us know you're all right. Hello, Woody Black. Hey, Neil Peel, the Paranormal Peep Show. I'll show you a video by Neil in a minute. It's hilarious. Hello, Nina. Welcome. Hi, Nina. Nina's a listener to the Her Panlo show and is also here, which is absolutely great. Charlie Boys in Satan's Hands. Don't know what you mean. Hello, David Splendid Isolation. Quit the music. Get the vid on. Oh, dearie me. Hang on, if you're there. Somebody doesn't like your music. Oh, dearie me. Hark at a great critic. Well, I mean, I play the intro. A lot of live streamers play intros because you just let people gather, things like that. And the thing is, I like it. I'm sorry you don't like it much, but I think it's great. I'm going to continue playing it. Red Ibex, another one taken out. So we'll talk about that. Yeah. Argentina tells Falklanders to go back to England, says David. I'm very disappointed in Mile. I thought he was better than that. He used to be better than that. But that's a big subject, David. And as if he tries to do something about it, then we could be in trouble, because I don't think the Royal Navy is quite as tough as it was in 1982. Well, that's been an understatement. Hello, Cole Costello, and we have here Tor Engen. Hello. Who else is here? Let's have a look. Sweeps. Nobody here but us chickens. Yeah, I'm glad you're here, mate. I can't wait to see the eggs. That's all I can say. But yeah, hello, Ollie. How are you? David was very knowledgeable about British ancient sites and crop circles. He was indeed. He worked closely with people like Kerry Cassidy. And Kerry has actually made a video about this, and she's written an article which we're going to go into. We have learned a little bit more in the week since poor David left us. Now, some people are saying he's not really dead, and he actually has gone somewhere. He's gone into hiding. Kerry was talking about this as a possibility. I'd like to think that was true. I really, really would. I mean, but you remember, it's this weird thing I had. If you watch when I went to Las Vegas, I had this weird obsession with the idea that Gareth Davis would turn up, because Trevor and I were talking about how he might not really be dead. And it's just, of course, it's wishful thinking. It's like these people who believe that Elvis is still alive. You know, the Elvis Presley will never die, according to some people, even though he'd now be like 90 something. He's still alive. He's out there somewhere. You know, it's to do with the fact that we do feel affection for these people, and we don't like to. Anyway, hello, we have here Jocelyn Richardson. Hello, Jocelyn. How are you? It's not a military debate. I'm going to zip it. Now, feel free to speak your minds, Phuket. That's absolutely fine. I won't go too far off topic tonight, though, if you don't mind. But the whole Falkland things we're probably going to come back to at some point. But to be the case, if I get the tab to open, sadly, so far, what happened was, remember last week, there was some uncertainty about exactly what was even happening at the time. About whether, because there was stories leaking out everywhere. Stephen Cambion actually did a video about this, just saying it's a possibility. He's heard a rumor that David Wilcock has committed suicide. Which he said obviously he hopes it's not true. I know he's a very, very tough critic of Wilcock, indeed lots of people are, but obviously it's certainly not David's. I'm sure it's not Stephen's intention that anything this bad should happen to him. I'm sure nobody. There's been a few idiots online, as there always are, gloating about it like they do. But that does happen, unfortunately, which is very, very sad that people do that sort of thing. But anyway, it just says he basically, he was 20th of April. That's last Monday. 53 years old. Apparently, he suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound. There is actually now some more information that's been released by the police. Some people are going on and on about but they won't. We don't know it's true. They won't release the body cam footage. They can't yet. I mean, he's literally. He probably doesn't have he's not even had a funeral yet. Probably. I don't know. Well, maybe he has. I don't know. It's only a week since he died. There's going to have to be a coroner's inquest. It probably won't be a long one because unfortunately these kinds of deaths are not uncommon. But all we know is that the police were called to his home in a place called Nederland, Colorado, USA. It's quite a remote area, actually. It's he lived in one of these log cabins. They're all log cabins along these roads, very traditional. And we've seen his house before because he there is some body cam footage of him being arrested by the police for animal cruelty. Apparently, he was on suspicion of animal cruelty because he allegedly refused to take his dog to the vet. And someone said the dog is very sick and he won't get treatment for it. And someone reported him and the police came and arrested him. And they were investigating him for animal cruelty. I think the dog was taken away from him. But that's then according to the. I don't know whether I'm not sure whether to play this or not. There's a video which actually shows. Where are we? Can everyone hear me? Only Amiga. Right. Okay. I'm gonna delete that comment there. It's the same comment that Only Amiga put on the notice, which I'm not going to read because it was the only comment put on there. And you need to buck up. You need to change your attitude, Only Amiga, if you don't want to get blocked. Quite frankly, because you were attacking somebody in the comment section the other day. Okay, right. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, that's good because it was a bit glitchy. I think it's a bit glitchy. Hello, Lance Corporal. How do you do? Only Amiga says, are you deleting the truth? Oh, don't give me that shit, Only Amiga. I'm deleting you posting inappropriate comments regarding this is a kind of a memorial. It is an investigation video, but it's also a memorial. All right. It's only a week since he died. Whatever you think of him, right? Hello. How do you do there, White Wow Signal? How are you? And Claire says here research into connections between all the global corporations in 2011 was foundational. The thing is, like, I've actually not. Hello, Arch Channel. How are you? you know, I don't know much. The thing is, I'm going to need a lot of your help here, I think, probably, because I don't know a lot about David Wilcock, because I used to follow him in like a long time ago when he was with Project Camelot, and he used to appear at their conferences and things. And I thought he was very interesting. He did some interesting lectures on lots of mystical stuff and things like that, as well as politics. I found him. I lost interest in him actually soon after, maybe about 10 years ago. I kind of lost interest in him because I found him much less. I didn't find him terribly credible. And as InsurTech says, I remember. Hi Ben, how are you, InsurTech? I remember Kev Baker taking the piss out of the blue aliens. Yes, the birdies, the blue avians. Oh God, the chickens, the blue chicken cult. You know. And this is when he teamed up with Corey Good, and I'm afraid I lost interest in him because I didn't find him. I found both of them not credible at all. This doesn't mean I wanted anything bad to happen to him, and we're going to explore the issue of mental health and things like that, and the fact that this field does attract some very damaged people. Why is this? I thought this was supposed to be on silent. Hang on. So I thought I put my phone on silent. I told my daughter I was going to be on the phone. Hang on a sec. There we are. Use this. Okay. Sorry, let's put that on mute. Okay. Damaged people get involved in this sort of thing, and maybe I'm one of them. I'm still trying to work out lots of my past and the things that I went through in my family. Yeah. But anyway, we'll. There's a video that's just emerged. I will play it. But I should warn you, this is going to be disturbing, but it gives you a bit more information. I won't play all of this. If it will play.
Is dealing with similar issues. We just want you to know you're not alone.
And these guys do mention, they try to like say, look, if you're feeling down, do get counselling and stuff like that. I think these two are brothers. They look very similar.
One call regarding a quote unknown problem, agency communications specialists believe the caller was in the midst of a mental health crisis. Deputies found a man standing outside with an undisclosed weapon. Minutes later, officials said the man used the weapon on himself and he was pronounced dead at the scene, according to the outlet.
Well, that's the official version. It's quick, it's clean, they wrap it up. But when the story gets packaged this neatly, especially for somebody like him, it starts to feel less like the truth, more like some kind of narrative.
I mean, this is a guy who just live streamed a few days ago. He was in a good mood. He was upbeat. He was even grateful to his audience. And here they're saying he took himself out. I don't know. And what makes this narrative even nuttier and more complicated is what Wilcock actually said back on Twitter in 2022. I plan on living. I am not blankety blank at all. Just concerned about what happens when you prove God is real.
That doesn't match the news report at all, Sundance. This isn't some random guy. Wilcock built a following, 500,000.
To be fair, this was like 2022. This is more than 3 years later, December 11th, 2022. He might have changed his ways. And indeed, I think David was he was a damaged, hurt person. And he had his problems, and we'll go into that. This doesn't mean I'm believing the official story. We don't know enough yet, but let's just carry on.
Followers, I think he had. He was on shows like Ancient Aliens. The guy had influence. He spent years talking about controversial stuff.
No question. Even after Ancient Aliens, the guy was doing his own seminars. He was talking about classified programs like alien projects, like Project Looking Glass. He was talking smack about three-letter agencies.
Yeah, Kerry was talking about how he was interested in the free energy cover-up and things like that. And that might have been what she believes got to the point where he could be taken out or he had to withdraw from public life, according to her.
Concept is very simple. Very evil people are running the planet and want to kill you. And they're trying to do that, and they're aggressively pursuing this goal right now. There are satanic communities where everybody's in on it, and they have mind control where you don't know they did anything. And they do it so well that you can't remember that they did anything because they abused me. I am not happy about it. And if you think this is fake and you want to laugh at me, and you think that I'm making up abuse memories, that this shit didn't really happen to me.
Wilcock was pushing against
how he is. He is a tortured soul. He was a tortured soul. His soul is freed now, but he was a tortured soul.
system. So when someone in that lane suddenly becomes the story, it's fair to zoom out and look at the bigger picture, make some connections.
Didn't we tell this 3 years ago that we killed
Poor
people
Amy
for this?
Eskridge. This poor Amy Eskridge. Yeah, this is the latest person on the body count. Even though her own death was several years ago, at a very young age, 34, and she's slightly older than my daughter. It's very tragic. We'll go into that because her connection is different, but it's connected to the missing scientist thing.
Is she not listening? What is she doing? She's still doing it? What? We told her we were going to kill her 3 years ago.
Sadly, Amy passed away in 2022 by self-inflicted means. But her name keeps getting grouped into these missing scientist conversations.
Researcher named Amy Eskridge was found dead in Alabama in 2022. After she warned that her life could be in danger, she was reportedly working on anti-gravity technology. And this obviously could make her possibly the 11th scientist. At what point does the FBI just stop dismissing these cases as disparate and unrelated and start asking whether there's actually a pattern here?
People are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary.
We're not saying this proves anything, but when you start seeing things like this overlap, people naturally look for connections. Full transparency, Wilcock also had been talking about his health recently.
The energy has been really down from these symptoms that I've been having. It's been very hard to work. I've had a really low energy situation, but I'm going to try to do a launch here, get that going so you guys have something to order and make a product. But honestly, I've just been too sick to be able to do it. It's really scary.
So you can see why some people online are not buying the official story. I mean, look, the guy seemed genuinely concerned about his health. I understand why these conversations go further, where people might be saying, look, he didn't take himself out of the game. He was targeted. Some people are even throwing the idea around that there was poisoning involved.
To be clear, that's all unverified. It's just speculation.
See, I don't know what you guys think of this. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. I'm just going to go forward to the 9.
It could be something way simpler. I've seen people say that he was doing keto, and maybe he was deep into ketosis. Man, that could have affected him.
Listen, I did keto for like 2.5 years, man. I was miserable, or I wasn't that miserable. A lot of people do keto.
Where's the call?
64052.
Here we go.
And the 9.
Okay, we're going to play now. This is a conversation allegedly between police officers in the area about this incident. We'll play it. I should warn you, it's upsetting stuff, but it's unverified as yet. It sounds authentic, but anything can be authenticated these days. So
911 phone call, which we found, by the way. We'll play it now, but guys, we warn you, it's a little bit disturbing.
Or possibly suicidal party. 1047.
640528. Party said sorry and then disconnected.
that was David. He just said the word sorry and then disconnected.
Copy. No criminal.
Hold all traffic. Hold traffic. He's got a gun.
Copy. There's code 3 on county law at 1104.
Shots fired.
Copy. Shots fired. All other traffic can go law 2. All other traffic law 2. Code 3 continues.
0, I'm grabbing the rifle. He still got the gun to his head. Looks like he fired a test round.
Copy. Gun to his head. Fired a test round at 1105.
5624 AMR3, just information. The party did. Just information. The party did fire a test round at this time.
Let me get a couple more units with a shield. Man, looks like he shot himself in the head. I'm still concerned about this house.
Copy.
Still doesn't line up. It doesn't mean
That's awful. It's terrible. That's absolutely tragic. So you hear that this description as he fires two bullets. He fires a test round, so maybe just up in the air just to test the weapon. He didn't open fire on the police. I mean, they would say if they were under fire, if they were being attacked by him with this weapon, then they would say something, wouldn't they? They would have said, "This guy's shooting at us. We need backup," something like that. I think that's what they would have said, and they didn't. So it seems maybe he was just seeing if the gun worked. I mean, who knows? I mean, anyway, who's it? How are you guys getting on the live chat? Come on, just waiting for the tab to open. Oh. How you doing? We've got Mr. Jason Sean. How do you do? Welcome. I remember him having Daniel Brinkley on his live talks during COVID. Yeah, Daniel was my thumb's already smashed. Thank you very much. Yeah, he was cool. He interviewed a lot of really interesting people. I mean, he wasn't his show on Gaia TV wasn't the best. He seemed to sort of lose it a bit then. But in the previously when he was with Project Camelot and other people, he did some really, really good interviews. Hello, we have here Crazy Mark. How do you do? How do you do? That's great. So welcome, Crazy Mark. I saw Crazy Mark on, if that's who I'm thinking of, on Saturday. No, you're not Crazy Mark. Sorry, that's less nihilistic Mark. Yes. There's Only Amiga. Okay, I'm going to block Only Amiga. Let's get rid of Only Amiga. You were warned, and I'm not going to put up with your behavior. Okay. Right. 69 Phuket. Where is Hugo Rune? Exactly, yes. Did Art Bell, says David, ever interview David Wilcock? I don't know. I think Art was I think David Wilcock was slightly, I don't think his activity period and Art's really overlapped much, because Art was kind of retired by then when Wilcock came out. And David says, I remember the Edgar Casey link and David supposedly being a Casey's spirit and hence alleged reincarnation. Yeah, he claimed to be the reincarnation of Edgar Casey. I don't know what's that. I mean, I'm open to the idea of reincarnation, but I don't know. I don't actually. Yeah, I'm not sure actually. I don't think I'm actually sure. It's like I said, I actually know very little about him. I've not really studied anything he said for about 10 years. Hello, DJ B2, welcome. And Sweep says here, Wilcock had a bunch of run-ins with Linda Moulton Howe near plagiarism and or taking credit for investigations she'd done. Had a judgment against him actually for that. Just saying. Oh right. That's something I don't know much about, Sweeps, because I haven't been studying Wilcock. I mean, Linda Moulton Howe is somebody I have kind of looked at. I quite like, and I think is very interesting, and I do follow her stuff. But I suppose I suppose this is something I could do. I mean, look at the number of people who've taken credit for the Penturk incident. When it was me and Gary Jones were like, Gary was the field of research, and I was the principal journalist. Look how many people are taking credit for that. Maybe, I don't know whether there was any. I don't know how the lawsuit actually came about. And Earshot Tech is pointing out similarity to Bill Cooper. Yeah, the Bill Cooper thing is as dodgy as hell. I mean, he was unarmed when he was actually fired upon by the police. He did have a weapon on the property, but it was like about 10 feet away from him, and so that doesn't count as a. I mean, the threat is just. So why did they open fire on him? Now, Kerry Cassidy wrote an article. Oh, whoops. Let's try and show you. If I can get the tab, wait for the tab to appear. But it says that an expert dowser just said David Wilcock did not kill himself. I've actually watched this video. All you see is a lady who's a quite new age type lady. Unfortunately, I don't find these people very credible, to be honest. I am afraid I don't. But this dowser lady just has some rods, and the rods move a certain way. She said, did David Wilcock kill himself? And the rods go that way, saying no. And she says here, in the circle of influence framework, a faked death is the ultimate clean egress, allowing a scientist to continue work on portal tech or plasma engines without the oversight of the surface Earth political academic record. And she says here, my video was recorded over 2 days explaining that David would not kill himself due to his belief and dedication to ascension. I've watched this whole video, actually. I do recommend, actually, it's about an hour long. Well, I won't play any of it, but the article's a good summary of it. And she talks about JFK Jr., of course, is another example of somebody who is allegedly dead, but might not be. She believes that someone called Juan 07. Alternatively, there's another guy called Vincent Fuchsia who is supposedly JFK Jr. This is the video. All you see is, well, I've told you what the content is. And Yeshua, I suppose, is the entity she's channeling. R.I.P. David and Win Free. Oh, that's funny enough. One of his colleagues and his biographer actually died just shortly before, which is strange. You did an amazing job for humanity. Bless you. Thank you for watching, Akara. Right. There's no comments yet. So yeah, that's another thing, I suppose, which is Kerry. Now, Kerry in the video. Kerry speaks about David's interest in the free energy, research, and she gives several other examples of people who have suffered mysterious demises, and there are many of them. There are people who have suffered serious demises, and we're not just talking about the missing scientists this year. There's examples which are too many to talk about. But she mentions William Tompkins, a guy who apparently fell down the stairs when he was going to have an interview with her. Yeah. Richard says here, did David find out who was behind the scientists' deaths? If he did, he never told anyone. Oh, he never told anyone. Hello, welcome. Welcome, Greg H. How do you do? Richard says, I wonder how many deaths have gone under the radar and not been connected yet. Ashton is not suicidal. No, Ashton has said this many times. Yeah. Ashton, just talk about Ashton Forbes, because Ashton Forbes is also concerned about this. He keeps stressing his own state of mind. The thing is, if someone decided to take Ashton out in this way, the problem is some people would still say, yeah, he did actually take his own life. Nina, hi Nina. I wonder what the Schumann resonance was when he died. That's a good question. I mean, the Schumann cavity resonance has changed radically in the last few decades. This is basically, it's extremely low frequency radio signal, basically, that is kind of like it's the electrical field of the Earth. Was it heightened? I don't know. I'll have to look at the record. Now, I know in like the Alien Autopsy group, they keep a record. They publish daily Schumann cavity updates. So we can always go back to the 20th of April and see what it was like in that group. I don't know if you're actually a member of that group. I'm sure I could add you, Nina. I'm sure I could add you. Sweep says, some reports believe David was targeted by DARPA-type brain assaults and by deadly frequencies, which influenced his recent health decline. It could be. Sweeps, I haven't watched your new video yet, but you've got a new one, haven't you? Feel free to post a link if you want. I'm going to watch it as soon as I've got time. David said, Mark Lena was another one funded by the Edgar Cayce Foundation, but when he got his Egyptology degree, he turned against them thanks to the funding. I'll now poo-poo your Cayce Sphinx claims. Probably, I imagine they kind of like sat him in a corner and talked him out of it. They do that at university. And they may say, you can't talk this if you can't do this if you want to graduate and things like that. But I've been reading his Wikipedia page, David's Wikipedia page, and he was born on the 8th of March, 1973. Only 53 years old. It's awful. And he says he's a significant figure in the disclosure movement, American paranormal writer and media personality and YouTuber, regular contributor to pseudoscientific theories in popular culture, making many appearances in the media, including Gaia Ancient Aliens. He believed himself to be in telepathic contact with extraterrestrial beings. And some of his followers believe he's a reincarnation of Edgar Cayce. And according to his website, Divine Cosmos, he offers teachings in soul growth, ascension, and the evolution of consciousness. Born in Rotterdam, New York. His father was a journalist. Donald Wilcock. He wrote a biography of Buddy Gray, who was a blues guitarist and singer-songwriter. He worked at a psychiatric hospital. Don't tell me he was a porter. Oh my God, I have to look into that. Interest in the paranormal. In 1993, he became interested in this. When he said he heard from someone, it was common knowledge at NASA that UFOs had been recovered from crash sites. Yeah, this sort of got. I mean, I sort of got into it. This sort of thing about the same time. He established himself as a significant figure in the disclosure movement, which advocates for the end of secrecy about aliens. He authored a number of books. He published Reincarnation of Edgar Cayce with Winfrey. We just heard about Winfrey. Yeah. He sold. He had you could do a 7-week Ascension Mystery School course for $533, and of course, this is what brought him to the attention of the backslappers. And to be honest, I mean, I agree with some people like Stephen Cambion. I agree with some of their criticism. I mean, I do agree with a lot of their criticisms, I must say. Because he did this program called Cosmic Disclosures with Corey Good. I mean, I'd lost interest in him by then. I mean, it goes back to 2012 and stuff like that. I sort of lost interest in him by the sort of late 20-teens. He became a director of advanced technology for Starvati Aerospace. Again, I've heard this. This is stuff I've heard, but I don't know much about Starvati Aerospace, whatever that might be. Let's have a look. But I mean, I know Stephen mentioned Starvati Aerospace because it may be another of these. Like, it sounds to me something very similar from to the Stars Academy. And from what I gather, it's not been any more successful than TTSA. How are you guys getting on in the live chat? That's interesting. Sure, Tech, born in Rotterdam, died in Nederland. Yeah, his hometown of Nederland. Now, Nederland is actually a Dutch word, and it means it's the Dutch people's own name for their own country, Nederland. It's roughly translates as the Low Countries. In other words, Netherlands, which is our word for it. That's quite strange, isn't it? Rotterdam to Nederland. I'm sure Ellis Taylor would think that was significant. I don't know if he has any Dutch ancestry. Most of the Dutch Americans actually live in Pennsylvania. Red Ibex says there's no way he committed suicide. Well, Red, I'm actually not so sure. I'm beginning to think maybe he did. But it's interesting that if he was involved with Starvati Aerospace, which does appear, from what I've seen, it does appear to be some kind of, to the Stars Academy, something, esoteric, a new technology development firm, which may or may not be illegitimate, or may be a front for some kind of scam, as many people have accused TTSA of being. It's been involved in several legal disputes. But it's just interesting that Amy Eskridge apparently was involved in, she wasn't involved in this, I don't think, but she was involved in anti-gravity research. Ning Lee. Now, Ning Lee has died, but it appeared she died of natural causes. But Ning Lee did disappear, if you remember. She did disappear. I mean, and she just vanished off the face of the earth, and people couldn't find her. And then she turned up later. What happened was a friend of hers eventually got a phone number for her and did contact her like a couple of years after she disappeared. And she was very shocked to hear from someone, because she thought that she sort of like cut off all her connections and things like that. And she said she was still alive, but she was working on a very highly classified research project for the US Department of Defense. It's probably more likely she was. It's more like she was actually working for the Chinese scientific community, because she did move back to China, which is where she comes from, And she died in her home country. Yeah. Hello, Nocturnal Frequency. How do you do? How do you do? What's this? To be expected, discussing a cull of intelligence. There does seem to be a lot of people disappearing. Nick Pope has died, which I did a little obituary to him, if you remember. Now, I should point out that the family, David's family, have made a public statement here. In this publication here, The People, and here it just says here, it just says here, the family of David Wilcock, a paranormal media personality, is speaking out after his death. How are you guys getting on? I thought, Crazy Mark, you're not Mark Froud, are you? No, you're not. Okay. But it's good to hear from you again, Nocturnal Frequency. I appreciate you joining us on this sad day. But he says, in remembering David, it's important to hold more than one truth. That some of his work raised concerns about misinformation. That he was also a person who was on an eternal quest for clarity. But they did say, and indeed, one of his best friends, a guy called Jude, he's made a half-hour video about this, and I won't play it. It's very upsetting because the guy is in tears for much of it. But it says here that Wilcock's family shared a statement remembering Wilcock, acknowledging that he had experienced a long struggle with depression and overwhelming financial debt. They said that he grew up in Schenectady, New York, where he had an imaginative inner life, a deep curiosity about all kinds of things, telepathy, lucid dreaming, occult palmistry, the predictions of Nostradamus. He attended the State University of New York at New Paltz, where he received a bachelor's degree in psychology. As an adult, he cultivated a community around several tenets that were important to him, including the importance of focusing one's energies on service to others and the divinity of all human life. In remembering David, this is them speaking now, it's important to hold more than one truth at once. That some of his work raised concerns about misinformation, and that he was also a person who was on an eternal quest for clarity. There you go. Beyond his public persona, he was a human navigating the same complexities and vulnerabilities that shape all our lives. His passing, my nose is itching, sorry. His passing is a reminder of how important it is to meet one another with open minds and compassion in our hearts. The loss of a life can turn our focus and shared humanity, whether we agree on life's unanswered questions or not. There's another article here called The Tragedy of David Wilcock. I got this from Darcy, where he's been speaking about this as well. Because, of course, Darcy's just made a kind of movie, made a documentary about, from the sort of backslapper perspective. It's a bit of a derogatory way to put it. I think, I don't think Darcy doesn't have the arrogance of a backslapper, but he's approaching it from that perspective. This is by someone called Bernard Gunther, although it doesn't seem to be appearing, but never mind. We come back to it in a minute. Who else is here? Yeah, I suppose what I'll give you at some point in this video, I will actually give people maybe some advice that I've come across if you are suffering in your own life, because it's very, very common nowadays. It's become more common, actually, but because the world has become more stressful and more oppressive, rates of self-harm have risen, and that's an awful thing that's happened. Oh, and Liberace's just started. But this is from the Time of Transition Substack by Bernhard Gunther, and it says here, The Tragedy of David Wilcock and What It Reveals, Conspiracy Bypassing and the Unacknowledged Elephant in the Room. It gives like a basic bio here. And he said, around 2010, I unsubscribed from his newsletter when he claimed he would be working personally with Obama to bring down the Illuminati. A mass arrests will come in to usher in a golden age. He also claimed that masses of people would ascend out of their bodies literally, and all evil would be eradicated by 2012, referring probably to the Mayan calendar thing. One of the biggest red flags was always the same. Unnamed insiders he claimed to know supposedly gave him information he could never independently verify. Well, this is a recurring theme. It doesn't mean it's not true, but it is something that should, if people can't provide evidence, and Ross Coulthardt's he's come up with something new again. It's just a story he heard from somebody. This doesn't mean it's not true. I'm not going to be as negative as some people am about this, but it's frustrating, and you think to yourself, we need to know more. And this guy, Gunther, then says, out of curiosity, I listened to a part of his live stream a couple of days ago. What I saw and heard, it was sad to witness. He came across as somebody who seemed to be in serious physical and psychological decline. Even in that final stream, just before his tragic death, he was again saying that disclosure is coming very soon, that it is imminent. This was the same prediction he'd been pushing for nearly 20 years, like a dangling carrot. The last video, I should say, is 3 hours, 33 minutes, and they all seem to be that length. It was a live stream where he interacts with the audience, and he did this literally. Well, he did this on a Sunday afternoon, and literally by the following morning was when there was the incident with the police and the gunshot. He also interpreted the photo of Jesus that Donald Trump posted. Oh, that was cringeworthy, yeah, as a message from the alliance suggesting that Trump was the Antichrist. Because he and Trump had a scar on the ear, Wilcock then began wondering whether he himself was somehow part of that Antichrist narrative too. My intention here, says Gunther, is not to speak badly about a man who's just passed away or dismiss his work as a whole. And he says here, on a human level, this is tragic. The elephant in the New Age disclosure and conspiracy movement is that many people in the New Age UFO and disclosure movement either fail to see or explain away through spiritual bypassing. Which is the normalization of mental illness, personality disorders, and spiritual narcissism or grandiosity. More than anything, I saw someone who was deeply troubled and psychologically unwell, who seemed to be struggling with paranoia and increasingly distorted beliefs. I also know from people close to me who've been dealing with major debt and financial problems, a recent divorce, a visible mental decline that, according to them, included increasing delusions. The problem is that many people, especially his fans, explain these real-life and psychological issues away by claiming he was targeted by energy weapons and that his decline was manufactured, or he was a threat to the cabal and was therefore taken out or driven mad. Yeah, this is what Kerry was talking about. Now, I don't actually, unlike Gunther here, I should point out, I think this is still a possibility. As bizarre as it might sound, and we don't do David's memory any favors, and we don't show sensitivity and kindness to his loved ones by pretending it's not true if there is a reason to think it is. It's not respectful to do that. Yeah. And then Gunther says that someone or someone else is blamed, placing him in the role of victim, rarely acknowledging his long history of false claims and increasing concerning behavior. I call this the conspiracy bypass, the refusal to consider that his suicide may have resulted from his own psychological decline, and the insistence that it must have been caused by some nefarious outside force targeting him. Well, as I said, outside nefarious forces exist. There may have been a reason, probably one that we don't know of, because there's nothing manifest in his publications that indicates why he would be singled out for this kind of treatment. But there may have been something he was about to say, or some information that had come about. I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. Gunther continues. The denial itself can be part of the psychological state, and someone caught in grandiosity or delusional thinking, it may even reinforce the sense that they were too important to die by their own hand. Since his death, some people are already claiming he's still alive and was extracted by the military and Galactic Federation of Light, hidden away in Cheyenne Mountain or somewhere else. Another prominent figure in the New Age UFO and disclosure scene claims that her psychic intuition tells her David faked his own death with the help of the secret space program. Somebody who knew Wilcock personally and worked with him for years said that the so-called deep state, if the so-called deep state had really wanted to take him out, they would have done so 10 or 15 years ago, not now, when he was mostly sharing increasingly delusional material about disclosure and related topics. Personally, I would go even further. I never saw Wilcock. This is not me talking, this is Gunther. As a threat to the Matrix or so-called controllers in the first place. If anything, his delusions, false predictions, and endless distractions served them far more than they challenged them. Well, I mean, some people can make this complaint about all kinds of people, including me, that we're messing around with frivolity so much that it's a distraction from what really matters. The problem with the distraction thing is everything's a distraction from everything else. It's a big backslapper thing, you know. It's a distraction, man. It's a psyop. Okay, so I can't scroll now. What are we doing now? It would have been much. What's happening now? The page. Sorry, guys. The page is refreshing. I'll go back to you in the chat while it's doing that. Anyway, Claire says, I watched the Lost series recently. It was the only thing that matched my state of mind. I've not seen that. Hello, Tolkien Study. How do you do? Who says here, it's also very revealing when people like Jay Widener and Good immediately react by monetizing it. Well, has that happened? I mean, I know Corey has just done a video about it. I know that much. I know he has. But Corey Good did a video. I mean, I don't know if it was monetized or not. I know that he was visibly sad in this particular live stream. What the hell's going on? All right, it's for some reason I just saved the cookies and it just bloody refreshed. All right, and it says here, I'm sure this tragic event will generate many more wild claims and conspiracies. All right, well, it has, but again, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with saying that if there's good reasons to say it. He continues, but beyond all that, it reveals a deeper issue in these New Age ascension and UFO disclosure circles. Psychological problems, paranoia, delusions, and even schizophrenic episodes are often immediately reinterpreted as ascension symptoms, alien implants, psychotronic warfare, high-energy tech weapons, entity interference, or psychic attacks. Well, those things do exist. At least some of them. The alien implants exist. I've got one in my arm. Psychic attacks happen. I have had, well, I don't know, it was not really a psychic attack, but I was targeted by by someone who tried to control me, tried to handle me, who invaded my family. And this is Isabel Menzies Lythe, who is one of the most infamous figures in the history of this business. I've talked about Isabel Menzies Lythe and what she did to me, what she did to my family. I don't know if that's not a psychic attack, but that is it did terrible damage to me as a young person. And then he says here, I do not deny that mind control weapons and psychotronic technologies exist. They have been around for a long time, are well documented, and I've written about them over the years as well. Right, so this guy is fair. He's not a skeptic. He's open-minded enough to see things that way. Well, in that case, maybe we should at least entertain the idea that this could be something to do with David. I'm trying to see both sides of this story because we don't know enough now. We're still in the kind of like we're still in the wave side of the particle wave duality in this sort of information zone. Anyway, he continues. However, too many people jump to conclusions about themselves or others being targeted or suicided without the psychological awareness, sincere self-inquiry, and grounded psycho-spiritual discernment needed to distinguish real interference from unresolved inner material. That might be true in some cases. I don't know if that's the case with David and people who knew him. And almost always, says Gunther, these explanations can cast the person into a victimized role with a special mission. Some even claim he was taken out to delay and interfere with disclosure and mass awakening. This framing is difficult to sustain given how consistently his predictions fail to materialize. The disinformation within the UFO disclosure movement is a much bigger topic, I know. It says here, occult interference, psycho-spiritual discernment. And again, he says here that these things do exist, definitely. I'm just going to scroll through this bit here because let's go forward to the conclusion. If David's tragic death reveals anything, it is this: no amount of insider information, cosmic prophecy, ancient knowledge, or promised disclosure can substitute for a difficult, unglamorous, everyday work of facing yourself. That's where the real work begins. It always has been. It's the only way out is through. Godspeed. I don't know about that. There's one more thing I want to go into now, because David apparently left a suicide note. Now, I don't. Again, this is unconfirmed. We're going to talk about sleep paralysis. Yeah, Mr. Jason will go into that, but there's this as well, and I don't know how many of you've seen this. This was posted on Instagram, but again, I'll just wait for the page to load. While it's doing that, I'll go back here. Mr. Jason says here, sleep paralysis can be freaky. One night, I couldn't move and saw these tiny beings that looked like a cross between little demons and aliens floating above me. Oh my goodness me! I regularly get sleep paralysis. I've spoken about it several times. But I usually just don't see. A couple of times I've seen strange entities. Usually I just wake up and everything looks normal around me, and then I eventually go back to. Eventually I just wake up normally, but occasionally I've seen weird things. Yeah, here it is. This here. Now I don't know how many of you've seen this. This was posted on Instagram, and it's called David Wilcock's Final Letter. And it says here, this is quoting David, "I do deeply apologize to everyone if something like an accident ended up happening. Thank you for loving me. I feel I have done the very best that I could. My health has collapsed from poverty, starvation, and disease. I have also now almost completely run out of money. I did my very best to keep an ongoing for as long as I could. For my family, friends, and all my greater family of supporters, I want you to know how much I love you and how sorry I am if something ended up happening to me. I know that accidents are possible in my reduced state. I hope this serves as a valid outline for path forward in the event that I was lost, and I have your forgiveness. I feel I've done the best I could do in a very difficult situation." Now, this obviously is a hint that he may take his own life, or something might happen to him as a result of his mental state. And they say this is a really sad thing to read, but all we know, it was posted here on Instagram, Collective Evolution on Instagram, which is this. I won't bother with it now, but it just says here, this is the final letter written by David Wilcock. Oops, out of the way. It was given to his lawyer, and excerpts have been released with the permission of his family. Is that true though? Anyway, as we've stated throughout the week, David was doing his best, but he was having a tough time. And what he chose to do, he chose to do. We don't need to invent conspiracy, as so often happens in this field, which of course discredits the field. See the comments for the source of the letter. Now, the comments are actually, all I see here is all the comments on this. There were like 404 comments, and they're all very, very scathing of the original poster. Signed the Kapow, for example. I'm with this. I'm now unfollowing CE. Here we go. Where are we going now? Bullshit, collective bullshit. And they're very scathing about this. But where is? I can't find the source for this letter anyway. I'm not buying it. Someone says. Murdered, someone says in capital letters and multiple exclamation marks. Do we know where this comes from? Look, this is trash. Yes, but in yellow. I mean, all right. But where is the source? I mean, I'll keep going. I'll keep scrolling down. As you can see, people aren't impressed with this. And should we? I mean, I'm not going to accept that this is David's real words until until I know exactly where it comes from. Okay, so I can't find it. They said the source would be in the comments. There is no source I can see here. If any of you have heard of this, please do let me know. Let's check out. Let's have a look at my notes. But it's awfully. Oh dear, what's happened? Am I frozen? I seem to frozen with like this. My nose keeps itching. Always happens when I'm talking. Always happens when I'm talking. My nose itches, so I have to do this. As I said, we've sort of been through it all. But I stopped following David myself a long time ago. So I don't know much about his recent work. Certainly in the last decade or so, I don't know much about what he's done, except he teamed up with Corey Good, the blue chicken guy. And I didn't find him impressive. And I've watched a couple of David's videos and didn't find them impressive. According to Kerry Cassidy, David would never have committed suicide. He didn't, according to her. It's possible she believes he was either murdered or he has gone black. He has withdrawn from the public sphere, faked his own death in order to work behind the scenes. And she says this happens a lot. Apparently, according to her, in Hollywood and the music industry, everyone has like a phone call. Everyone has like a phone number they ring. All the big stars, Sean Connery, Demi Moore, Tom Cruise, they all have this number they ring. And it immediately puts you through to a service which will arrange your disappearance, and it'll do a fake suicide for you, and then you can disappear and become under a different identity. And Kerry thinks David might have done this. And she talks about other people like William Tompkins, again, the guy who supposedly fell down the stairs and died. The Dowser said he didn't kill himself. Now, take a little break. Let's just watch. Sweeps has got some videos here I want to show you because they're quite funny. Oops. Here we go. So we'll watch Sweeps' video, shall we? I'll just go through your comments now. Oh, David Schultz, how do you do? Greetings, Benz. It goes without saying, the good die young, we get stuck with the real stiffs. R.I.P. David Wilcock. Amen to that, David. Yes. Yes. Very, very sad. And Tolkien Studies says here, even the Boulder Police Department attacks the parents' statement to the website reports. They did indeed, yeah. Some people, Tessa says he had diabetes and this caused hallucinations. Some people said because he was on the keto diet, that caused mental problems. Although, as you heard from the Butch and Sundance, it doesn't. They did the same thing and it didn't have that effect on them. Tolkien Study says here, the note is confirmed as from David, as much as it can be. Sad. Very, very. I was hoping it's kind of not true. Not because I want a particular outcome for this case, but it was just a very, very sad thing to read. Very sad indeed. And that was that. All I know is posted on Instagram. But if it's true, then But Sweeps has sent me some videos I'm going to show you now, and so has also, and Neil has as well. Let me just show you these videos. These are really funny. Where is it? There we go. Let's have a look. Oh, what's happening now? Hang on. All right, let's. Oh, here's one. Here we go. This is to do with 3i Atlas. Let's lighten the mood a little bit. This is about 3i Atlas. Here we go. If I can get it to open, if it will open. Are you still there, Sweeps? Because you sent me these. These are really cool. And Tolkien says here, I think many people are overlooking the passing of his beloved dog. That will crush a person. It didn't help. Gurley, yes, Gurley the dog, whom clearly he held affection for. I know he was arrested. Oh, cool, Sweeps. Sweeps is still here. Nice one, mate. I'm going to show your video if I can get the player to open. I know he was arrested for alleged animal cruelty, and there is body cam footage of that. Although, however, this doesn't mean he didn't hold the dog in affection. It could be that because he was in the wrong mental state, he couldn't look after her for that reason. That's why he neglected her. You know. Okay, it's we're just waiting for the player to open. All right, guys. Tolkien, well, he was actually arrested or just talked to. I can't remember the details. I know that there's body cam footage being visited by the police on behalf of the animal welfare team, and I think the dog was taken into care. The dog was taken away from him. Claire says here, oops. I don't know this guy, but he's racking up the views. David Wilcock and the White House psyop and melatonin suppositories marks cosmic adventures. Right. All right. I'll have to just cut and paste that in a minute. I'm just trying to get these videos to start. Right. Come on. Nope. No. But yeah, if the dog was taken away, yeah, Cambion did a video about it. Did a live stream about it. Which, of course, that must have been upsetting for him. Yeah, considering he was living alone. His wife had basically, I think, it was only him and the dog lived in that house. And 69 Phuket says there's a special place in hell for animal abusers. Yeah, people who deliberately hurt animals. I mean, there's no redeeming them. It's just disgusting. It's like child abuse. It's picking on the vulnerable. Right, here we go. Right, so let's have a look at this. This is fun. Thanks for this, Sweeps. Look. Artemis, no way. All right. Let's watch that again. Nutella. What? Right, I'm not exactly sure. All right, and there's some like American-style pancakes there. Well, Sweeps, I'm not exactly sure where the relationship is between that and Artemis. As you know, I've done a thing about Artemis too. As I've covered that in detail. Let's watch another one now. Let's watch another one. Let's see if that will work. Oh, it does, right. Okay. This is another one by Sweeps. Now, this will be more familiar to you. Oh, don't shoot aliens. Who's that in the rocket? Who's that? There's some people in the rocket there. I think they're like North Koreans or something. Cheers, Sweeps. Hey, I know that guy. Yes, he's familiar, wasn't he? Yes. Here's another one. Here's another one from Sweeps. All right, here we go. Let's make that a bit bigger. Let's drag that out, make it a bit bigger, and I'll show it to you. Oh my goodness me. Yep, that's is there another one? I think there's one more. It's by Neil Ward. Neil, are you there? Now this is actually kind of like a promotion. This is actually a promotion for an upcoming interview that we've got with Stephen Sakalarios. Oops. But this is funny. Let me just open it up for you. Now, you will recognize this person here, certainly. It's only short, only a couple of seconds long. It's really, really funny. Here we go, right. There's a soundtrack to this as well. But anyway, Sweeps, thank you very much, Sweeps, for your videos. They're really cool. This is by Neil Ward. Again, you'll recognise the character in the front of it, in front of the stretcher. All right, it doesn't actually. It's not that good a likeness, and apparently the black guy behind is based on Neil, and that one there is based on me, and it's from this film called. What's the film called? Neil, what's the name of the movie? It's a Brazilian film. And I can't remember what it's called, but it's apparently it's like a bit like What Dreams May Come. It's about a guy who's based on a book about a guy who dies and goes to heaven. And apparently there's some people in this movie who sort of act like hospital porters, and they carry the main character through out of wherever he's going. Neil, please, what's the name of the film? It's a really highly acclaimed Brazilian movie. David says, in that last one, you look like Alex Jones. Probably when it's a smaller screen, it will like look different. But anyway, while I'm waiting, see if Neil gets back to me. I will. What's the name of the film? Stephen Sakalarios was. I don't know exactly what Stephen's role in it is, but we did like a really interesting interview with a guy called Stephen Sakalarios talking about that. It is, isn't it? It's pretty cool, Tolkien, isn't it? Yeah. Claire says here, I think he got too strung out and hung up on his cosmic mission and needed time to chill out, poor lad. Yeah, Claire, it's very important. I always say this to anyone involved in this. For goodness sake, no, you can't let this obsess you. I mean, it's something I struggle with. And you can't let it get you down. I mean, this is why I like the Y-Files, because you've got to keep it light-hearted. The Y-Files is great, because I do recommend actually watching the Y-Files if ever you're feeling down, because it's about the UFO paranormal conspiracy stuff. But it's light-hearted and it's fun. You have Hecklefish and AJ, and Hecklefish is going, lizard people! Sitting in his little goldfish bowl. 69 Phuket says, doing some part acting on the side, Ben. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm actually an official consultant to the movie industry on hospital portering matters. I got approached a few years ago by a guy called Greg Loftin, who's a film director. He's best known for a movie called Saxon, which stars Sean Harris, and he's making a new movie, and he wanted to know stuff about hospital portering, because that's a big part of the plot, apparently. Tolkien said, yes, it's a Brazilian film, about a guy who dies and goes to heaven, or goes to hell and he has to get into heaven, or something like that. Oh, Neil, let me know what it is, please, if you're still there. I'm just going to play the promo, actually, Neil and my promo. So I always promise Neil I will do this if ever when I'm doing a live stream. Not Porter Tales, no. Here we go. Here we go. Let's watch the promo. This is something that's coming up next month, guys, if you can get to it. But you'll like this, I think. If you can get to it, it's really worth going to.
Hi, Ben.
Click stop and go back.
Hi, Ben. What are we up to in May, then?
Well, this is really, really great, Neil. Great news for everyone is we're on the 19th of May, which is a Tuesday evening. We're going to be speaking at the Changing Times event. Now, this is an interesting event in West Sussex, which has been going on for a very long time, actually. I don't know how long the organizer, Andy Thomas, has been doing it for, but I know he has been doing an event there for over 20 years. And this is, it's like a little get-together of people, and it's quite informal and quite small and well-organised little get-together. And we're doing an event called Messages Through Space and Time. And it's a kind of double bill, really, isn't it? Because we're both speaking, we're both doing short segments, and no doubt we'll be doing like a joint Q&A on several different subjects.
Yeah. So that's right. Well done. We are indeed doing a joint talk, a joint presentation, messages through space and time, and it's with the Paranormal Peep Show. So it's like a kind of we're out on tour as such, but we're just doing that one event. So we're not doing massive venues throughout the country, but we will be talking on messages through space and time. So I'll be doing a talk initially on the Dawson messages. That's inspired by the book The Virtual Plane. So it's where this guy called Ken Webster and his girlfriend Debbie Oates were receiving messages through their BBC microcomputer back in 1984 from a medieval person living in Chester. So he was in fact the original occupant of the cottage they lived in Dawson in 1984. So he's communicating through time, potentially. So that's my talk, but what's your talk about?
I'm going to be discussing the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. That is, people pointing telescopes to the sky, looking for aliens out there. Now, the fact of the matter is, though, I believe aliens are already here on Earth with us. They've been here for a long time. They've been visiting us, and they come and go continuously. So there seems to be a bit of a contradiction there in methodology and indeed belief. But I'm going to see just how these two different issues relate to each other, and including recent events such as the discovery of several signals from other planets. For example, BLC-1, which is the Breakthrough Listen movement, which was set up by the Russian oligarch Yuri Milner. Very, very interesting indeed. And we've just been visited by a very strange object, which unfortunately has left us now. It's called 3I Atlas, the third detected interstellar object officially recognised. So, yeah, that's going to be quite something. I look forward to that enormously.
Great. Well, hopefully we'll get a good crowd. But for those that are listening, if you want to meet Ben and I in person, that's Neil Ward and Ben Emlyn Jones, we will be at the Changing Times event, which takes place, as Ben said, on the 19th of May. It begins at 8:15, and it is at Cypress Hall in Cypress Road, Burgess Hill in West Sussex. And that is the Changing Times event. And I think they charge £8 entry. And so I'll be talking roughly 45 minutes, and Ben, you'll also be talking for 45 minutes. And it'll be the first time members of the Paranormal Peep Show will have spoken publicly together representing the Paranormal Peep Show. So that's the first for me and you.
It is indeed. Details at www.changingtimes.org.uk.
And we look forward to seeing you there.
Well, there you go, guys. What do we stop sniggering? I wasn't sniggering. Oh, dear. Oh, that's it. Jason Shaw, I think that's it. Astral City. I think that's it. Yeah. Oh, Tolkien. Yes, Tolkien said Colin Wilson was her brother. Yes, he was her brother in arms. I mentioned that on one of my. Actually, I mentioned that on one of my St. Theo's videos. Yeah, I love the Y-Files, Tessa. I do. I love the Y-Files. Tolkien says here, my co-host John was featured on the Y-Files episode on John Titor. Oh, right. I know you've got your own podcast. I just watched a couple of episodes of it. Yeah. I didn't know that. That's cool. Nutella jar was flung across the Artemis crew space like an advert, and a flight actually was seen flying in that space, not AI glitches galore. Oh, that explains it, right? You are, Sweeps. I didn't follow it as closely as I should. By the way, guys, if you are interested in all things strange, you might like to know that I am appearing. Oops, where is it? I'm not sure I can get the actual. I may not have got the tab open, but what are you doing next Saturday? Are you up to anything interesting? Because I am actually doing a show for the Vancouver UFO group. Now, this is not, I should point out, I'm not going to Vancouver, unfortunately. I'd love to, but I'm not able to get to Vancouver in Canada, in Western Canada. But the group there do like online conferences and online webinars, and I'm doing a webinar for them next Saturday. Next Saturday, that's the 9th. Not next Saturday, because that's the 3rd of May. It's actually the 9th. Let me just go and show it to you. But yeah, it'll be on Zoom. I'm not going to try and use this PC. I'll do it with the laptop. It should be easy enough. I was actually on Julia Anchorhaven's podcast the other day. Nutellaverse. I like Nutella. I love it. Nutella's a beautiful thing. It's gorgeous stuff. But where is it? Here we go. Keep going. Keep going. Here we go. Okay, I'll be speaking at an event hosted by the Canadian group Vancouver UFOs and Preparing for Contact. And my talk is entitled UFO Disclosure, What They're Not Telling You. And it's to take part, you'll need to join Meetup and make sure you can use Zoom. Follow the instructions on the event page, which is here. The easiest thing to do is just go to her Panmo Voice and just check that out. Mr. Jason Sean says, I have one of Colin Wilson's books, Colin Wilson's Poltergeist, a study in destructive haunted. Yeah, he was very, very open. The video, it's called Astral City, A Spiritual Journey, which I will talk, maybe I'll talk more about it another time, but I haven't actually watched the film yet, but we interviewed a guy called Stephen Sakalarios, and I can't remember what his involvement with this movie was. I can't remember what it was, but Neil and I went through that. But anyway, let's go back to my notes because I think we're nearly done now. Right, the missing scientist. There's been another one added to the list. Christina Gomez was talking about it. A guy called Matthew Sullivan. Now, I don't know how much you know about this, but this happened like a few months ago. But he was in a hotel room in Washington, D.C., and he was going to give testimony. He was going to give testimony at one of the hearings, and he was found dead in his hotel room. Allegedly suicide. Allegedly, as it always is, allegedly, isn't it? You have to say that. I mean, I'm still not sure what to make of David Wilcock and what happened to him. But Patrick from Vetted has covered this, and so has Christina. We don't need to watch it, so we don't need to watch it. But the point is that the point is that this is a guy. This is somebody the backslapper said didn't exist. For several years, they've been saying this man does not exist. This man was invented by Lou Elizondo, and he's been lying to us, saying this man exists when he didn't. Well, now, as you see, he did exist, and he's now passed away. It's quite frustrating actually dealing with the backslappers when they talk like that. David says, if you have Netflix, use a VPN in Brazil to watch the movie as it's on their region. That's an idea. It's actually on YouTube. There's actually quite a low quality copy on YouTube. I don't even know when I'm going to get time to watch it because I want to watch Sweeps, his new thing. Sorry, everything's running slow tonight. But I'll try and find Christina's video and we'll watch it. But I mean, of course, we know that there's been this is now 13 people, if you include Sullivan. And this is the video here. He was going to talk. I've got so much I need to do and I don't have time. I need to finish the Hush book. I haven't read it for 2 weeks. I don't know when I want to read it. I've got to review that book. I need to finish the fucker. When am I going to get the time? Hope you should be able to see this. Click here to start. No, I don't want that. That's an ad. All right. Because a friend of mine actually approached me. Someone who's got like a radio station.
Excuse me, sir. How old were you when you made your first million?
What is this for?
We're trying to get advice for the
The well-known Air Force whistleblower who has been in contact with Sullivan was helping him come forward. The two men actually served together inside the Air Force. George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell discussed this case on Weaponized. Testimony is calling that death suspicious. Hey, ufologers, I'm Christina Gomez, and welcome back to this episode of UFO News Updates. According to a new Liberation Times report from journalist Chris Sharp, published on April 24th, the late U.S. Air Force intelligence officer Matthew Sullivan was allegedly involved in the legacy UFO program. Sullivan died in 2024 before he could speak with congressional investigators. Congressman Eric Burleson had stated publicly that Sullivan was scheduled for an interview, and then within just 2 weeks of that scheduled meeting, he was found dead from what authorities ruled as a self-inflicted gunshot. Sources told Liberation Times that Sullivan was directly involved.
Right, David, a self-inflicted gunshot. Why can't David?
In the technology side of an alleged effort tied to a vehicle suspected to be of non-human origin. He carried out that work for a private corporation operation with a U.S. intelligence agency, although his involvement reportedly began during his service as an Air Force officer. David Grush, the well-known Air Force whistleblower who has been in contact with Sullivan, was helping him come forward. The two men actually served together inside the Air Force. George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell discussed this case on Weaponized this week. Take a listen.
You know, you saw Rep Burleson went out and talked about a suspicious death. And this is a real deal situation here. You know, an individual who is supposed to come testify to Congress, who must have had really good access to the legacy programs. You know, I would assume from a technological standpoint, is dead.
Sullivan was no junior analyst. His records placed him at some of the highest and most sensitive institutions inside the U.S. intelligence community. As reported by Liberation Times, he served at the National Air and Space Intelligence Center and the Air Force Intelligence Agency. He deployed to the U.S. Central Command and the United States Indo-Pacific Command as well. His funeral was attended by Major General David Abba, who served from 2021 to 2024 as Director of Special Programs at the Department of Defense Special Access Program Central Office. Abba supervised Sullivan at Langley Air Force Base, and per insights from Liberation Times, Abba described Sullivan as the highest intel lieutenant he has ever met, and that he matured into one of the most leading thinkers of hard issues with enormous implications for the country. The language coming from the man who ran the Pentagon Special Access Program Central Office is interesting to say the least. The Sullivan story didn't stand alone this week, however. At the National Space Symposium in Colorado Springs, David Grush joined a panel alongside Burleson, NASA official Mike Gold, and Rod.
Poor old Mr. Sullivan. That's very, very sad. Yeah, Matthew Sullivan, another person who's left us. And again, it's another self-inflicted gunshot wound when he was about to give testimony. Very sad. But it's annoying, first of all, that the backslapper said, oh, he doesn't exist. Elizondo's lying. He made him up. David Grush just made him up. And they didn't. But it shows how serious this is and how people are at risk. And there is a backlash against disclosure. Now, where's the connection to David Wilcock with this? I don't know, because David Wilcock was not a scientist. He professed to be involved in the disclosure movement through his own independent organizations that he was talking about. He was never in the military. He was never in intelligence. He never actually worked for any of these corporations, from what we know. And I know some people are linking his death or disappearance to the deaths and disappearances of people like Neil McCasland or Monica Reza and the others. But is that actually true? Is there reason to think that? I do think there's something significant about these deaths because and these disappearances, because it's to say it's just a coincidence, even though I know some of them are kind of been retconned into this whole theory and project. People like Amy Eskridge actually died about 3 years ago. And several of the others died quite a while ago. Now, Nuno Loureiro, I actually know died a few months ago because I covered it at the time. The guy who was shot in Massachusetts, a Portuguese guy who worked on nuclear fusion. However, it's the fact that the thing is, it could be that they were part of him. Eskridge as well were all part of this pattern, but no one. It's just because people only just now recognised it doesn't mean that they weren't a part of it. They weren't actually. There's no suspicious elements. Hello, Hatchy. Hi, Ben. Look after yourself, buddy. They're dropping like flies. Not sure why. Yeah, it's. I'm starting to get survivor's guilt. Sweep says here. Great, Vench. You got coming up, Ben. Great stuff. Break a leg. Thumbs up. Number 6. Come on, group. Bring it on. Thanks. You're welcome, Sweeps. And I'll check out your videos soon. As soon as I can. But I need to finish the Rush book. I've got like so many books I haven't read, and I know I'm going to have time to. And I've got to prepare for these 2 talks next month. Yeah. Phuket says, "Oh, she's cute." Yeah, she's way too young for me to think in the terms I normally would for a woman. But I think if I was her dad, I'd be very proud of her. Definitely. Anyway, I think that's it. I can't think of anything else. I think we've covered it all. Obviously, there's more to this, and it's got a lot to do with more information that will come out. As I said, I'm glad I didn't say anything last week. I'm glad I waited a week before doing this live stream because so much has come out in the last week. And there's more. There will be more at some point. People, there's some guys. There's that guy, that Ancient Aliens guy. Was it the Indian bloke, Praveen Mohan? He was going, well, why won't they release the body cam footage? Well, data protection, love, as someone said on her Panama radio. They can't just release body cam footage from the police to the public about a death that happened so recently, which may require a coroner's inquest. Because the police, obviously, sadly, suicides are not uncommon now, and very rare. It's usually just a rubber stamping situation. But they can't just publish. The police were involved. They can't just publish body cam footage and say, "Look, here's what happened." I'm not sure I want to see body cam footage of David Wilcock's demise. Actually, I don't want to see that. But it's not a cover-up. It's the fact that there's a process. There's a legal process that has to go through when there's a death like this. There's a legal process. David says here, Ben, I think you're probably on the right lines with Wilcock, along with your intuition on it. Thanks, mate. I will do it if there's more information and there's a reason to know more about what actually happened and find out who's right and who's wrong among these theories, whether he did take his own life or was murdered, or whether he didn't die and this was just all a big sham. All the other things that Kerry and others have talked about, or whether his family are right and the letter's real. And this is just a sad, very, very tragic case, all too common nowadays, especially in the UFO field more than any other, of a damaged, upset, frightened, disturbed, and traumatized middle-aged man for whom life just got too much. Because that does happen too in the UFO community. We're not all taken out by whistleblower hunters. We do suffer real tragedies, and there's several people in this field who've taken their own lives. There's a lot who've died recently. Yeah. All right. Hachi says, Ben, look at the guys that have tried to get free energy patented. All go strangely. Stan Meyers was one. Yeah, Stanley Meyer was poisoned while having dinner at a restaurant. Eugene Malov was beaten up in his home by a burglar. Brewster Palmer was shot in an apparent mugging, although nothing was taken from him. Another guy fell off a train. Oh, people who get involved in free energy research, anti-gravity research, this happens. Amy Eskridge was apparently involved in this research. Ning Li was involved in this research. Ning Li disappeared, and I did think she was dead. She then resurfaces in China, apparently retired, although I suspect she was actually working for the Chinese Space Agency or the Chinese scientific projects. And then she seemed to die of natural causes. But oh yeah, it's just unbelievable. What about Nikola Tesla? They don't necessarily kill you. Nikola Tesla had his entire business, his entire career, his entire scientific work destroyed by J.P. Morgan and lots of other people. He ended up passing away in 1943, penniless in a hotel room, living off basically, raw cans of tuna and things like that. And before the undertakers were even allowed to take the body away, the FBI, with the help of the agents from the scientific community, went in there and confiscated everything, all his books, all his papers, all his prototypes. John Trump was among those, who is the uncle of our Don. Yeah. Oh, right. And it doesn't, yes. The inventor of the diesel engine, a man called Diesel. Now, this is not even a free energy. This is just a very efficient fossil fuel reciprocating engine. There was an attempt to cover it up. Yeah, the man was found floating face down in the North Sea. He apparently jumped off overboard on a ship. That's going back to, I think it was 1913 that happened, wasn't it? But he apparently, this wasn't even free energy, like I said. This was just an engine that the newly emerged petro fuel industry, the petroleum industry, didn't want released. They wanted people to use the less efficient, more lucrative petrol engine. Yeah, it didn't work, of course, because we have diesel engines everywhere now. Oh, Claire said about the cat. Right. InsurTech said, why would he be so much in debt? Who's not in debt these days in InsurTech? I mean, you staying out of debt is what takes effort. I think the average person now is it £11,000 in debt now is average? Sweep says here. Tesla's brother from Serbia actually got to the papers before the FBI. True, he took lots of them to Serbia. Oh, right. That's interesting. I didn't know that, Sweeps. Anyway, I think that's it, base. That's all I can say right now. But we will come back to this subject if necessary. But I want to thank everyone actually for joining me this evening on this sad but video that just needed to be made, because this is a memorial to David Wilcock. For those of you who did get something out of his contribution, I didn't personally, and since from about 2017 onwards, I didn't pay him any attention. But for those of you who do, and you got something valuable out of his contribution, this video is for you. For me, it is about paying respects to a man who tragically died, or whatever happened to him. We'll know more, I think, in the future. I'm not going to jump to conclusions on this, as some people have. And again, this is we need to address the fact that these deaths do happen, and some of them are suspicious, and we do nobody any favors and we show nobody any respect by not addressing that point as well. All right. Thank you very much to David Splendid Isolation, to InsurTech, to Cosmic Claire, to Greg, to DJ B2, to Sweeps. Wow Signals up there somewhere. 69 Phuket. Mr. Jason, Sean, Tessa 111, Tolkien Study. I know Nocturnal Frequencies up there as well. Thank you to you as well. And for everyone else watching, there's apparently 36 people watching. That probably means over 100. And we've got David Schultz as well. Neil Peel was here earlier as well. We played his video, yes. Angel City, that's the name of the movie. I must remember that. That's what that video is based on. That little clip by Neil is based on. Thank you, everyone. That's much appreciated. And so, look, take one more thing. If it'll work. Bear with me, guys. Excuse me. Bear with me. This is what to do. This is my advice to you, for last of all, which I think is very important. But I'm just going to do this before we leave. I think it's very important that I do this. Okay. If you sorry, guys. Just wait for the things to catch up. Hope everyone's all right in the live chat while we're waiting for this to work. If you are feeling depressed, we'll be with you. It'll work in a minute. I do want to do this before we leave. I do very badly want to do this before we end the live stream. I might as well make a cup of tea while I'm waiting for this to catch up. It's not going to work. What I'll do is I'll show you on the phone. Okay. Well, I've got to go. I'd have to go back to the browser. I'd have because I've got you on full screen. Okay. Is it working now? So I just had a bit of a freeze up there. If you're feeling depressed, what you should do. Here we go. Please do bear this in mind. If you are in any way like David Wilcock or anyone else, it's not just him. Loads of people feel this way. Well, I should say just Google if you're feeling depressed and it'll give you some advice here. As the AI overview, depression in the UK, warning signs of depression, NHS UK, Mind, etc., etc., helpguide.org. All right, so that's the thing to do, I think, my friends. Friends and enemies alike. I'll just wait for the browser to sort itself out, and then we'll... Sorry, it's a bit of a slow end of the live stream, but it's just... This browser clearly is having problems. Well, thank you, everyone. Melchizedek has just turned up. Thank you, everyone. Good night. God bless. Take care of yourselves. All right. Hospital porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.